Patanjali's Asanas. It wasn't yoga as we know it. I love a good study of Patanjali, and this video deals with Patanjali's Asanas. In fact, this video is part of a series on the 8 limbs of yoga that Patanjali wrote about centuries ago. I'd heard of Patanjali through Wayne Dyer and others, but I'd actually studied his work when I was going through my meditation teacher training. He wrote the Yoga Sutras, and with the help of the internet, the Yoga Sutras themselves, and my own experiences, I delve into the asanas to see what Patanjali really had in mind. And I found out a few surprising things. First, asana in a word means posture, but that's not entirely accurate as translations are rarely perfect. But it implies a comfortable position meant to help you as you meditate. It also embodies other terms such as steady or alignment. Interestingly, in the West, the term asana has become synonymous with the word yoga. And yoga, at least in the Western sense, means that you do a type of exercise that involves different postures. The word yoga, as you might have guessed, comes from the Yoga Sutras, but it's also so much more than that, as in the 8 limbs, and we're talking about the third limb with regard to the asanas. The word itself, yoga, means to yoke or to bring together. Indeed, yoga brings together the mind, the body, and spirit, and effectively you use different alignments to help you in your meditation practice. And when you steady the body and find a comfortable way to meditate, you can then help to settle your mind and work your way all the way up to the 8th limb, which is samadhi, or the complete settling of the mind. Interestingly, Patanjali doesn't talk about the asanas that much in his Yoga Sutras. To him, they were actually secondary to meditation itself. He suggested that basically you learn the postures to help your body become more limber, to assume different meditation poses, and then that's it. In his Yoga Sutras, the asanas get 2 mentions. In Sutra 46, the physical postures should be steady and comfortable, and Sutra number 47, they are mastered when all effort is relaxed and the mind is absorbed in the infinite. So you know what that's suggesting, the completely settled mind. And those 2 translations come from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. This is translated and introduced by Alistair Shearer. This is the copy that I refer to all the time as well. The idea of the asanas are centuries old, and yoga, as we know it today, is only a recent phenomenon. And that's actually quite telling. Yoga, as we know it in the West, only developed in the late 19th and earliest 20th centuries as a blending of Western gymnastics, wrestling moves, as well as influences from indigenous people in India, as well as influence from Indian combat poses and other such influences. The yoga poses that so many people practice today are actually heavily westernized, including in India itself. The yoga of the East, again, was secondary to the practice of regular meditation and included few postures. Even in India, the use of many different postures didn't happen until the 1920s or 30s when physical exercise became a more popular phenomenon there. So it makes me wonder how old the 5 Tibetans are. That's something that I've written about on my blog. There are only 5 main exercises and they're said to be 2,500 years old, right around Patanjali's time. There is also the idea of Qigong, something that I also practice, that has similar moves that are repeated in yoga. The more Chinese pronunciation, Qigong, was a practice that the Chinese military used to defeat the Mongolians long ago, which is very interesting. So what would Patanjali tell us if we live today? Based on my reading of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and knowing what I know about meditation, I think Patanjali would have just a few things to say about the asanas. I don't guess that he was a man of lots of words. So I'm going to pretend for a moment that I have a rare opportunity to interview the elusive Patanjali. And in conversing with this enlightened being, I share what he'd say. So when I face this way, I'm me. And when I face this way, I'm going to be Patanjali. Patanjali, it is an honor to meet you. I've read your book, and your work has influenced the world. Patanjali bows his head in reverence. In today's world, especially in the West, it's achievement crazed and fast paced. Many people are stressed and seek external validation. They do not always know or think to look within. What advice would you give to help people learn to embrace a more calm, less externally oriented existence? Thank you for this question. You know, Cynthia, too many people do not balance their activities. Many do not get adequate exercise. Or if they do not pair it with exercising the mind and spirit along with it. They treat them as separate. Indeed, they are not. Exercise also doesn't mean no pain, no gain. It means honoring your body and pushing it only as far as it can go on that day. One can find stillness even in exercise. You humans have developed a whole series of asanas since the time I walked the earth. I suggest that people practice exercise that focus or allow a focus on the breath so that you can emphasize the connection between mind, body, and spirit. I think he's pretty wise. People love to run marathons and lift weights. So you're suggesting that maybe this isn't the best way to go? I'm suggesting that you only honor the body and what it can do in the moment. I will say, however, that exercise can be extraordinarily simple, such as standing like a tree. If you pair this slow exercise and breathing with a good teacher, it will change you mentally, physically, and spiritually. Okay, well, just one more question. How exactly, or what exactly did you mean in the Sutras 46 and 47? There's only 2 mentions of the asanas. Well, the postures, the asanas, are meant to help you sit for longer periods of time in meditation without getting sore or hurting your muscles. Remember, your intent is to settle the mind. The best way to do this is through silence and creating the space for silence in your daily life. Until you can achieve this, you will not be able to effectively settle the mind. My sutras are meant to help you do just that. Thank you, Patanjali. I know you are incredibly busy in the multiverse, and I will leave you to it. Thank you for sharing your words of wisdom, and thank you to the readers out there who have entertained this fun dialogue.